You're listening to the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network. The views and opinions expressed on this episode are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or philosophies of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible. This show has also been rated M for mature audiences only.
Say what again? Say what again?
Say what? What's up, Jason?
What's happening, Kristin? Listen,
Oh my God.
it's been a minute since I've heard that open,
I
and
know.
I forgot about the second voiceover that was in there. So when it popped in there, I was like, "Holy shit!" I forgot about that.
It makes me laugh, man. Today it's gonna be weird and in the best way. So number one, anyone who watches the show, we've done a couple lives, on video. I typically just do audio, mostly because I want to be feral and in my pajamas and not have to dress up for my listeners. But today I got a new little couch. I got this new setup, and I think my husband has been on the show before. Today he's going to be back on as my guest, but totally different topic, totally different. I'm going to tell you this. I'm here to learn too, because I don't know shit about this subject other than my house is covered in locks. Locks everywhere. Locks from Germany, from Croatia, from all over the world. So much has happened since you and I spoke last. So I want to preface this episode with a couple things, though. Number one, we may end up seeing the whole family on today. My dog's been on the couch. We all know Mama Socks is going to pop out with one of her weird horny cries at some point during the episode. It's like tradition. We will be back with On That Note next week. Obviously, my last episode of Say What was intense. I had some things to say. Strangely enough, more happened since that episode. I will not relive it. It's been a very weird 2 weeks. But that being said, I want to talk today a little bit about, well, actually a lot about, the weird things that happen in our life. This wouldn't be the first time, but I would say in some ways this is one of the more unique experiences that we've been going through here at the Watt household for the last, 6 to 8 weeks, I think. And then the last 2 to 3 have been just wild. So we're going to have my husband on today. I'm sure this whole subject matter might intrigue you. You might get interested. But I'll kind of let him talk a little bit more about Mitten Made Locksport. This is a new endeavor that my husband is spearheading, but anytime, just like with Say What or On That Note or any other Holly Axe, Holly Pride, whatever it is we're up to around here, it's always a family affair in some way. We all get involved, we all support. So today we're going to talk about the unexpected creation of Mitten Made Locksport. What does that mean? What is it? How did we get here? What is the goal? How does anyone want to get involved? And it kind of just is strangely poetic that this is being filmed on Memorial Day weekend. So I want to wish all of our service members just a safe and holiday weekend and their families as we remember those who we've lost, in service to our country. And strangely, we ended up with creating Mitten Made Locksport, which is all about, as our sign says, supporting veterans and creating communities. So this is not my gig. My husband's taking over the community involvement right now, and it's kind of surreal. So, but I have been able to, I guess, lend my experience in community, involvement. And yep, we're gonna have animals bark and meow today. That's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a fun episode. So anyway, I'm excited, and we're gonna bring Charles on and get right into it. Now, Jason, do you know anything about Locksport? Have you ever heard of this before? Do you know?
I'll be honest, I have not. And I had not until you started talking to me about what Charles was doing and things of this nature. And because I wanted to look like I did a little bit of research on it, but I'm very curious and I'm interested in hearing his story, how he got involved in this, and what his goals are, both short term, long term, that type of thing.
Yep.
I'm very interested in this because this is obviously something that he has taken. He has taken that ball and ran with it, and
Oh,
I think it's absolutely amazing.
well, and the best part is not only has he taken the ball and ran with it, but it started, and you're about to hear the story. Someone threw a ball at him, and he was like, "What? Oh, there's 1,800 balls coming at me now. Like people are just giving me balls." This is a fun analogy, by the way. I like it. And then it was like, "Oh, what do I do with all these balls? Let's do some good." So it was just it's a pretty cool story, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So let's welcome. This is not an episode takeover; it's an episode collab. Welcome to my hubby.
Hello.
Charles Watt.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Charles. Good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Doing real good. I appreciate you being on the show here. And like I said, I'm very interested in this. You have my full attention on this.
I want to start just because there's so much information. I feel like I want to start with how did this whole thing begin? We'll talk about like what is Locksport, but I want to start from the very beginning about, we've talked a lot with our listeners about our family, and we put a huge emphasis on mental health and having self-care and being well and stuff. So I kind of want, if you take just a moment and share with folks how we even got to this moment.
Okay. So weirdly, I've always wanted to learn to pick locks. It's just something both for, as a handyman, it would help to, when I have to get into lockouts, I can get in, but I can do it the damaging way, and then replace, so just professionally, it's it's one of those cool things, play guitar, shoot pool, juggle. It's a cool thing to learn. So a couple of years ago, I bought one of the cheap sets with the clear locks on Amazon, for my daughter for Christmas. And she didn't end up really using it much. Once in a while, I'd pull it out, but I didn't know what the tools were. They're cheap, crappy tools. I kind of learned a little bit, but it didn't catch fire. The beginning of this year, I bought a set from Covert Instruments, the Genesis set, and sent it to my son for his birthday with some other stuff. And there was just kind of a mix-up, and he ended up not getting the box, and it got sent back. And something was broken in there. So instead of resending it, I had to, repackage it. I pulled the set out, and I just couldn't resist. Pulled all the other set out and the locks out, and having the nice tools made a difference. I understood what was going on. I got right into the locks. I had to have a lock, some real locks. So beginning of the journey, the addiction of ordering and buying locks.
That happened.
My search history and, order history is just locks. So I just kind of started doing it. I was looking around. So for years, I've been watching the Lockpicking Lawyer on YouTube from before he even started Covert Instruments, right before that, and started following a couple of the other big names like Bosnian Bill and Lock Noob. And I found it interesting because there were different types of locks and all these different security features, and the engineering and the mechanical, ability that was in there too. There's so much more than just picking a lock that you started to run into when you kind of fall down this rabbit hole. So I started just kind of making a couple videos, made my little channel, I'd been a gardening channel that didn't really do much anymore. Changed it over to C Stu Do at C Stu Do, and just was like, I thought I'll post a few videos of me picking locks. When I find out something cool, put it on. And in the lock picking, there's the LPU lock picking. I forget what the U is, but they have like a belt system. So locks are
like
ranked.
karate.
Yeah, so there's a yellow belt, orange belt, green belt, and it goes up from there. And there's locks are ranked, and there's different requirements to like submit. And one of the things is you have to show stuff on video of you picking, and then gutting the lock and doing other things for higher belt levels. So I was kind of doing it to get ready to submit for that, and be involved in that. And that's all I really knew about Locksport as I kind of wandered into it. I ran into a guy named Adam Harris on YouTube, at the Comp Guy, who just immediately started, interacting with me. He's a great guy. He introduced me to like the greater Locksport community.
It's bigger than you can imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And I started finding all these other lockpicking channels and interacting with these guys, in weird names, but Dog Picking Locksport, Parky, which I can't remember what his new name is, but he started out as, Parky, Southpaw Pete, Left Hand Loki, Otter Arms, Lady Locks. I started running into all these amazing channels and amazing pickers, and I'm brand new. And the amazing thing about Locksport that I ran into right away was they're supportive. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're brand new, if you suck, whatever. I'm about to get emotional.
I'm going to take.
I thought this was going to
Okay.
take longer to happen, but that's
I'll interject for just a second. I have shared with people, and we'll get into this part of the story a little bit later, but there's a lot of people in the community who obviously I know, but I see them at Backroads. I see them at the Moose. I see them at the coffee shop. People who know who my husband is, but for the longest time, you were a phantom. Like, people thought I was making you up because you're not as outward. You do have the ability to be social, for sure, and
But
entertaining. But you've had some challenges and struggles over the last few years where I'm engaging with people in the community who struggle with social anxiety or whatever, and a lot of the folks here in the Holly community. But anyway, it's been really fun since the story has been unfolding. People are seeing you all over now, and we're like, what's happening? And so it's given us an opportunity to really talk about this and connect. Even if lock sport doesn't sound interesting to you, what it is there are people that this is interesting to, just like it was to you. Yeah. And what we're finding, or what he's found, I think, online is not everybody, but a lot of folks who may struggle with social anxiety. And we just so happen to be, a lot of those folks happen to be veterans. Yeah. And we do that. So anyway, that's kind of how that snowballed, but it's been such a healing thing for you personally. Yeah. But it's also cool because you're reconnecting not only online with building a community that existed that has embraced you.
Yes.
You are also now making friends and creating them within your own living community right here in Holly.
Right.
So it's just been kind of a really cool thing. But yes, you have been emotional about it.
Yes,
but
sorry.
I broke him up so he doesn't cry. Because real men cry, by the way, motherfuckers.
Oh, I will cry.
Absolutely.
It'll happen.
So anyway, carry on.
So I ran into a lot of great people, very supportive, and a lot of fun. There's all these challenges and giveaways and people, doing their different things and adding their whatever they do in their other hobbies into this. And so I found out, Locksport, this giant thing that was more than picking locks. It's pinning and gutting locks. It's restoring locks. It's fixing locks, collecting them, learning the history. It's making challenge locks, just making the most amazingly brutal frustration puzzles, and everybody sends them around to each other.
And by the way, mails them across the world to each other.
And the people in this community, they're constantly making things for each other and sharing, trading. There's people who 3D print stuff that's very affordable, such as a little tabletop vice that I got it from a guy named I think it's Audible Agent on one of the sites, Eastlands. It's just everyone really tries to help everyone out. And I've been a part of a lot of different communities. As she said, I've been a magician, I've been a juggler, been in theater and improv, I've been in martial arts, been in sports, trades. I've been involved in a lot of like community and hobby specific things, and you run into great people. And I've never run into anything like this. The healing that it gave me is something that we want to give to vets. So
why don't you tell them how that even came about?
So fast forward on me and the channel. So I started getting into it. Adam introduced me to everybody. I started getting a lot of support. And I kind of found a way. One, I'm pretty good at raking, which is kind of a speed attack. It's a little considered less skilled because you can't do it on the higher level locks and stuff. But it's a quick entry. I'm got pretty good at it, pretty fast. And then I have an ability as a juggler and a magician and all the different things I've learned to do. I can do a lot of weird stuff with my hands.
We're a little weird.
So I learned to do 1, 2, 3 locks in one hand. One-handed, lock opens. I'm behind the back. I'm chaining myself up and doing escapes. So I started finding my own little groove.
You made it entertaining.
Yeah, and when I'm having fun and, kind of embracing the fun that everybody else is having in this community on YouTube. And so that got me some attention. I got Multipick from Germany reached out and offered to send some product to me for me to try and review. And that was amazing to kind of wake up to that email one day. I didn't.
Well, can we backtrack really quick to the beginning of this? So
that
sorry.
one comes next.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So then I had that going on, and had kind of made this relationship with one of the biggest companies, lockpick, locksmith companies in the world. They make quality stuff. It was amazing for them to reach out and to establish this. And then next, I had the guy who started Covert Instruments, Robert, with Lockpicking Lawyer, reached out to me as well. Just wanted to offer a couple minutes, gave me a little support for my channel, said some nice words. We talked a little bit about the Locksport community, and I was telling him I wanted to start a Locksport group. I knew I needed to do it a little different than the way just collecting a couple local people physically together over and over again. I didn't think that had growth potential. So I got off the phone with him, and I was explaining to her who he was and talking about, hey, I don't know what to do, how to get a Locksport group. He's a vet. He's like a super vet, man. Like, he was the top tier. I'm not sure if he's Navy SEAL or whatever, but he was like the top guy. Got out, did it in private life, red teaming stuff, and then started a lockpick company that's like the top one in the world. So I was explaining that to her, and she goes, why don't you start a Locksport group for vets? It'll help them like it helped you. Bing, So she'll say she's supporting and, back her up, but we're doing this together. She gave me the idea, and every step of the way, it's, her moving me forward to try to know who to talk to, or she's setting this up and getting me there, and she knows the sign guy.
My sign guy.
Yeah, she's
Mr.
got,
Paul.
so it's, I'm usually background and support in the last, 4 or 5 years. That's how I've operated for her. And in some ways the roles are reversed, but not really. It's still a team effort. Every business we've run, everything we do, it's together, one way or another. So I'm happy about that.
I want to say this too, because I think especially we didn't plan this. It just so happens to be Memorial Day weekend, but I want to take a minute and pause. And of course, my other cat Finn is clawing at my feet as we talk. This is again why I normally don't do video. It's total chaos over here. Over the last probably 4 to 6 years that I've lived here, that we've been here in Holly. We've been here a little longer than that, but as long as I've been involved in this community, clearly what Charles has started and what he's doing is much bigger than Holly. There's connections all over the country and the world because there's a virtual connection. There's a lot of people who don't have the ability, and particularly with vets who struggle with PTSD, anxiety, loud crowds, noises, can't sit with their back to doorways, things like this. This is a very real thing that many service members have to deal with for the rest of their lives. And so being able to connect, Jason, you and I have talked about this many times about like the devils of social media and, people getting stuck in their cave on a screen. But what I think I've always kind of played a little bit of devil's advocate on this issue. It is a saving grace for a lot of people who are crippled with fear or anxiety or struggle with certain emotional or mental health dysregulations, and it doesn't even have to be from, military service. It could be from childhood trauma, whatever. But I don't know that since I've lived here, we live in a Purple Heart community. So I would venture to say that 1 out of every 3 people that I meet or encounter in Holly is either in service, a veteran, or related to a veteran in some way, like no matter where you go. So I have been thoroughly educated from real life experiences, real stories, real people, from World War II and Korea to most of our living senior vets now are Vietnam, just because of, people have passed from World War II. But we have a ton of people that live right here in this community and surrounding communities that are our age group that served post 9/11 in Afghanistan, in Iraq, or even those that were in Persian Gulf before that. And we really didn't start talking about, and I know you and I have discussed this, Jason, like we really have not, we haven't started about talking about the mental health effects, the actual care of our vets until really our generations. Like all those guys that served in NAM came back and they were hated when they got home. And then they had to suck it up and support their families. There was no care. There was no therapy. There was nothing for them. And what I have found from my own experience talking to these Vietnam vets right here in real time, they're just now in their 70s, slowly like letting it seep out to anyone that's not in their own circle. Like it's just a silent, understood pain and some of the symptoms that they've carried with them all these years. And it's just now an era where it is okay for them to even acknowledge in some ways, or even address or start dealing with. And one of those effects is large crowds. It is, the PTSD effects. There's many of those things, but to be able to have a virtual community where people can get online and connect the way you did with this group of people from all over the world, and then also offer a local meetup or growing the in-person portion of this. It's something that's very needed. And we have a great friend who you probably met him, Jason, at Holly Pride last year because he comes out to support. But if not, you'll definitely meet him this year. And his name is Stu, which is funny.
Yes.
So, you met Stu.
Yeah, because I'm in Locksport, on my channel, I'm Stu.
His middle name is Stuart, so he went with Stu.
My first initial C, my middle name's Stuart, so C, Stu, do. And because I do a lot of juggling and all stuff that I can do on the channel too.
So it's kind of cool because I've been trying to hook them up on a play date for 2 years. I just knew that y'all would hit it off, and not because I'm friends with him, but I just knew because I've known and gotten to know Stu. And Stu, you told me. Let me tell you.
So Stu, a couple weeks ago, Stu hits me up and says, "Hey, can you come over and pop a lock for me?" He had a 1500 watt portable ham radio generator thing.
It's crazy.
From 1950s, and he didn't have a key. So I was like, "Yeah, we come over and try." And I got in it, and he was like, "Dude, that's awesome. This is cool." And it was right around when we were starting to start this. I said, so he's kind of our first vet in. And part of what we're doing is with getting the companies. We've got Multipick in Germany. They just sent it off yesterday. Is donating a lot to this group. Lockjaw Manufacturing sent me a bunch of stuff that we're using in the group and we'll be using at the meets. We just got Southern Specialties, another lockpicking company, signed on to send some stuff to help support the group. Part of what we're going to do is obviously have stuff for the group for meets to be able to use. Part of what we're doing is supplying vets pickers that are getting in and want to be involved, and Stu is all in. So I've already got him two handfuls of locks. He's learning to get through it. I've got him his starter kit.
He said he was picking locks all over his house.
Yeah, it's an addiction when you get to doing it. You just start looking for locks, you know. But one of the things, and I'd like to stress this, we do stress that you don't pick locks you don't own. You don't pick locks in use. You don't want to pick your front door, or your car lock, or anything like that, because tools break, locks break. You don't want to pick stuff that's not yours, because you're taking a risk with other people's things, and we're not teaching people to do anything illegal. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not the goal of this. In fact, you'd be dumb to learn to lockpick and then use it in a crime, because that's premeditation, and you're going to add years onto your sentence. And I'll gladly rat anybody out that goes and takes this knowledge and, you know, commits a crime. It's not what but that's not how most crimes are. It's brutal, bash and grab stuff, you know. So we're doing a service and showing a lot of people that some of the locks you're told are protecting your stuff are actually total crap.
We have found that our entire country is under the illusion we are safe.
Yeah,
we are not.
So I mean, you can get good real security and locks and things like that, but don't listen to the companies who sell them. You gotta know what you're talking about.
Can I elaborate for something you shared with me too, for Jason? And I do not remember which company. It might be Multipick, I don't know, but or Covert Instruments, whatever. One of these amazing companies. So when you think of this, I've had to learn and be educated on. This is not like, oh, you just go down to the Walmart and you buy a little lock and you pick on it. Like, these companies actually work with military bases and help simulate.
Well, that's different. Yeah,
but like this is how big this goes.
But that's involved. Like, that's security. That's one of the realms of.
They help enhance security for companies and stuff too. So
but those are corners of what you get into when you get into this. And the beautiful thing is that, like, it's like magic, or it's like getting into wrestling, or, you know, like it's as deep a well of hobby as you need, you know, or you want to go down. You can do it a little bit, you can do it a lot. The people who get into it a lot, that's where you kind of get the therapy of it. It's, you have a hobby, you have a puzzle that you get to go do over and over, you have a skill you get to build. There's nothing like popping a lock for the first time. You know, it's just, you hear that shackle pop. It's just, you know, it's like hitting a buzzer beater 3-point shot. You know, you hear it hit that net. You're just like, oh, you know, it's just great. She hears me yell. I just yell randomly from the attic, and she knows, you know, you got into another lock. So, it's a blast. But so all of that is kind of what, gave me the opportunity, the contacts, the idea, to start the group. And as she said, the point of the group is in kind of concentric circles, is the way I kind of view it, almost in a permaculture design. So, like, my closest circle is here in Holly. I've already been going to the Moose Lodge and the coffee shop and take my picks and locks, sit down. I've taught a couple of guys how to do it.
He taught Cassandra's Dave, and Dave Fisher's kid, Dalton, I think is his name. I don't know. I always get his name wrong. They both came over. He was picking locks, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I have pictures of it. And he taught them both how to do it. They were like, "Oh!" It reminds me of I call it inner child work. Like, it's going back to playing when you're a kid, like little boys playing.
Getting to do that, and then her daughter's boyfriend, I got to teach him. And I was lucky enough, I was going to do an interview on a lockpicker's channel, and he's been around. He's like one of the grandfathers of this locksport community, the Lockpicker 1969. And when we were coordinating doing the interview, turns out he lives down the road from us, basically. So I was able to do the first in-person interview with him. I'm one of the few people who's actually gotten to meet this guy in person. So that joy of being in person with people, picking locks, talking about locks, and indulging in my hobby, I wanted to do that more, you know. So that's an impetus of the group. So that's one of the inner ring. I'm going to rove around the metro, you know, the Tri-County, Metro Detroit area. I work down at Liberty Cannabis. They've become a product sponsor as well. Donated some shirts. They're going to have supplies with some other stuff and help out in some other ways. We have a lot of vets that are come in to my work, and I talk to a lot of them. And when you tell a vet whether they care about lockpicking or not, you just say, "Hey, I started a group to help vets." It means something. You tell a lot of guys, "Hey, we're picking locks," they're like, "Ooh, that's pretty cool." And you start combining those things, and you tell these guys, there's a lot of people. I've got a lot of YouTube channels too. Mr. Inferno, Nola Southpaw, Left Hand Loki, Picksmith. Have all sent locks. I've got over 100 locks. I got more locks on the way to supply the group and to donate to vets that get into it. I've got a dozen channels that are there to help. They're going to jump in on Discord. They're going to help with graphics.
A lot of cross promotion going on here.
Yeah, they're going to help with doing videos, the instructional videos, that for the group, welcoming people and things like that. So I've got a huge amount of people that are I can say are here to support you to these vets. She's got me going to speak.
Yep, he's going to be presenting at the American Legion at our monthly Holly Vet to Vet in June. They always have a speaker come in that sometimes it's for benefit, sometimes it's just activity, something that's always like geared towards something that a veteran or their family might want to, might benefit them in some way, And so he will be presenting at Vet to Vet.
Yeah, so, and then we've, for the group, and then we, like I said, it's local, it's mobile. I actually want to go on a big trip across the states to meet up with all these channels. A lot of them are vets that are helping out, and just hit vets along the way. We don't want to just Michigan vets. We don't just want vets. We want anyone that wants to get involved. As long as you come knowing that the point of the group is to support vets. Mm-hmm. That's what we're here for. And then I want this Locksport group to, as it establishes itself and gets all this help from all these people, I want us to help other Locksport groups, help other people in other states, help other vet groups, whether they're Locksport or not. So it's more than just like it says. It's helping vets and creating community. And I think lockpicking, Locksport are tools that we can use to do that.
Planes, trains, and automobiles here in Holly, folks. Well, and I will say this to come full circle, and it really warms my heart. I mean, first of all, I'm glad that you found any hobby at this point in your life that has given you this much joy and fulfillment and healing. I've kind of joked and said his Locksport that's his karaoke. It's my karaoke. You know what I mean? Like, we each have a hobby that we're passionate about, and we're also using it. I didn't create a group, but Jason, I think you would agree that because you do appear up at the karaoke bar with us occasionally. A community has been created there. We're humanizing very different people in one space with a common ground and a common purpose. And this is what we need. This is what we need in this country. This is what we need personally to be able to still connect with each other and try to kind of see past some of our differences and find a way to have a conversation. And I feel like with veterans, I will be very honest with you. I've always supported people because they're people. It's like regardless of what your title is or how you serve. But I'm not going to lie, because I myself am not a veteran. I do have vets in my family, and he is not either. But as we have immersed ourselves in set these roots down here in Holly, like I said, every person I meet is in some way connected or affected. Whether they served, they're married, they lost someone, lost a child in service, whatever it is. And the more I've become educated on the why people choose to serve, what their experience is while they served, what they've dealt with after they've come out, and then what that looks like going forward, my heart has really changed a lot about. It's not so much like I don't worship you because you serve the country. I love you because you're a person and you have effects from your sacrifice. And I don't believe that our country does the best job at taking care of people after the fact. And that is where we come in as neighbors and people. And so that's why when I said it to him, I go, why don't you just start a Locksport group for vets? because you're not trying to appropriate or take any credit for their service or sacrifice.
No.
But there's a lot of similarities between survivors of trauma and people who've served and survived trauma. That trauma is the common ground. The hobby is the common ground. And we want to make sure that as citizens and community members that we are supporting people, and these people happen to have given some of the ultimate sacrifices. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited to support, you in this work, and it's exciting. So Jason, we've done a lot of talking. That's a lot of information. Do you have questions? Are you jonesing to pick a lock now? What's going on?
I have comments. I've been sitting here writing down notes for things that I wanted to say so I didn't lose my train of thought here, because there's so much to this that I have a unique perspective because of my personal affiliation with you two.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, without going too far into the weeds here, what I want to say right out of the gate, and Charles, this is going to be more towards you, brother. I am so glad that you have found something to dive yourself into, because the presentation that I'm seeing here today, in comparison to your previous appearance on this show, are night and day difference.
Oh, yeah.
Your aura is on full display right now, brother. And I could not be happier for you.
Thank you.
You are the epitome of a lot of things that I talk about on the flagship show, that when you find your thing, and you are willing to put in the effort, and you're willing to put in the work, and you're willing to go through what you need to be a success, that good things do happen to good people. You are the poster child of that for this week. And I absolutely love the fact that the two of you found something that is above and beyond you. You're making a tremendous change in people's lives, whether you realize it or not, and I feel like that you do. But the fact that you have found this community that you have said has been instrumental in healing you in some regard. Brother, that is huge.
It is.
Because, I don't know your whole story, but I know enough to know. I mean, when you said that, it affected me very deeply and very personally, because of the respect that I have for you as a person and as my friend's husband. Yeah, so to see this, and to see it on full display, and to hear it more than anything, because I mean, you can't fake that shit.
No.
So I can sit here and I can actually hear the difference in you. And this is just the beginning. The sky is the absolute limit, based on what Kristin has told me in terms of this level of interest and the correspondence that you have here locally and abroad. You have found your niche, man. And I could not be happier for you.
Thank you.
And can I just say, too, this is one of those things that I'm just like, yep, it's one of those things. When you start out doing something that you believe is good for yourself, for personal fulfillment, or whatever steps you're taking to take care of your star player, as Cat Williams would say, right? It reminds me in a totally different way. It's like a parallel. When I started Holly-Act 6 years ago, I told you we had like a solidarity march. We felt a need. We went out there and just did a march. There was no intention. There was no plan to make a group. There was no nothing. We just went out and did something organically that felt like it needed to be done, or it was the right thing. And I unexpectedly and unintentionally became a community leader.
Yeah.
In this process, there was no plan for that. It just happened. And then I think what we learn as we grow older and go through a lot of, stupid shit throughout our lives is carpe frickin' diem, right? If an opportunity presents itself to you, are we so cluttered that we don't see it? You want to make sure you're clear to see it and then know how to pounce on it, because doors open, you need to walk through them. I mean, it feels like the right thing to do. And what I feel like happened here was, most importantly for me, is that you found connection with other people. You found something to help channel some of the energy that you needed to get out in a healthy way through this process.
Yeah.
You found friends.
Yes.
And then very much in tow with it's not just a, hey, pat you on the back or me on the back. This is just how we roll. A lot of people have helped us in our lives.
Yeah.
And we always have a pay it forward attitude. We always feel like, hey, something good's happening to not me, us, right? Like, it's happening to me. I want to make sure that other people are uplifted through this process. And so I've been going through this for 6 years in my own way. And to watch it happen, like, I knew the moment that your YouTube channel kind of blew up for you not intending that to happen. You were like, I'll just make some videos, and all this stuff happened. And then companies are calling you, and you're not the only one those companies talk to.
Oh, no.
But to be able to connect and be validated in a way, and for the right reasons, not for glory, not for, I want to be famous on YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? It's no different than kind of even how I do this podcast. I do this for personal fulfillment, to help contribute content to the PFC network. But I never did it to be, I'm not trying to be the Kristen Watt experience like Joe Rogan. Like, that's just never been my intention. So sometimes when you're doing it for the joy of it and you get to share that with other people, that's when all that good karma comes at you, man. And the universe just puts the right people in your path who needed what you needed in that moment. Maybe they didn't even know that's what they needed.
Well, I didn't.
You didn't,
I knew I needed it, but I didn't know that's where I would get it.
Right. And so it's just been this very unintended, organic, farm to table thing that's happened over the course of the last 6 weeks. Like, 8
really.
weeks. And my whole life has been taken over by fucking locks.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. And so, that being said, I was like, well, yep, that's just 3 of many.
These are some of the donated ones.
Show them the little kit you got, too.
And
so
then,
Jason can have tools.
So, like, we start off, this is the FNG from Covert Instruments. You get a couple of your basic tools. You get a little good clear lock that you learn on. Multi-pick just sent out. They're going to a bunch of these pick sets, starter pick sets that I'm going to have for using in the group and supply some people with.
Shit happens.
I've got Lockjaw sent me a case that all the tools for the group that I use. I'm starting to collect into this and do that. And then it's just lock picks and lock picker poker chips.
We got swag.
Stickers. I order stickers now.
Stickers.
It's like I'm in 8th grade or in 3rd grade again. Collecting puffy stickers and scratch and sniffs. Man, I got a huge sticker collection because everybody makes a logo. I didn't even bring that down. I'm not showing my logo. That's how much I'm focused on self promotion with all this. Is I should have led with my logo and all that stuff. But I'm just having fun, and showing, like I said, showing what I do. And as I started to have anything of a channel, one of the questions a Lockpicker 1969 asks in his interviews is, what do you want to do with your channel? I was like, well, I didn't intend to really have a channel, so the only thing I wanted to do with it was support other channels and other lockpickers and continue to kind of be a source and someone that's helping the fun and all the community and the support happen. So I kind of followed the leaders like Lady Locks and Lockpicker 1969 and other people, and just tried to go from their example of leading with what you do instead of telling everyone what to do, and always kind of leaning into the community and the support of it. So
it's just been awesome.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
As she said a couple weeks into this, even before I started even to hit anything, just my finding friends in the community, she started telling people, I have my husband back, and it woke up something I thought was that was gone, love of life. I wake up every day. I can't wait to have fun,
I can't even explain to you, like, Jason, because you don't really know the whole story, and I don't think you need to, but like, that's something that literally a year ago we had a conversation, and I was like, because, this is why I said people are always like, are you really married? Like, where's your husband? Yeah. Because one thing about our relationship is we don't have to be tethered to each other. No. We've always had separate interests, and we don't really force each other to sit through things we hate. In my first marriage, I was married to a gamer, and hey, all the love, if you game, get your game on, do your gaming. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't understand it. I think it's weird, but more power to you. People think karaoke is weird. I do it. Everyone's got their thing, but it's like if you didn't have that one common interest, we couldn't spend time together because it was all consuming. And so I feel like people have always felt it strange that, like, we never see your husband at karaoke, and I'm like, he does come every now and then, but he doesn't enjoy this. It's not something. Part of it was you don't really enjoy karaoke. The other part was you were in a place where you didn't want to be around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I had made a comment to you probably, I don't even know, could have been a year ago, but I was like, I feel like, don't you want to go do something? Like, don't you want to go have fun? And you're like, I don't have fun anymore. I don't need to like, you had no desire. You couldn't even come up with a world where you were having fun.
Even when I went and had a fun once in a while, like with old friends, and I didn't really have fun. I don't know. I just,
your depression
I
was
enjoyed
so bad
it.
and so deep.
And
and how do you deal with that? How do you how do you, as someone you're going to share your life with, how do you deal with that when someone, like, if I looked at you and go, I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah.
I don't care about fun.
Yeah. I mean, and
go live your life. That's a very hard place to be in a relationship.
That's part of the desire to share, the healing that I got is, it's hard on families. I've been in, I have severe depression as well as, persistent depression. Years. I've been 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just ever since I tore my body up.
Yeah.
I've never recovered. And,
it's been a lot.
Yeah, again, 6 to 8 weeks, like it's been
unsettling in some ways too, because you also started a new job.
Yeah.
Literally around the same time. And so we went from, hey, I took a bunch of steps back over this last year to, refocus on my family and really on me and what do I want for myself, not just the hats. We've talked about this, So it was like, okay, we're finally got a little free time right now. And then, oh my God, like the whole world's just like blown up over here, So it's been, but all in a good way. And the really exciting thing is, and I appreciate, even though this is my podcast or one of my 2 podcasts, I do appreciate always, Jason, you being willing to just go with the flow on whatever shit I come up with this week that I need to orchestrate to talk about here on the PFC network, because I know that your Mitten Made Locksport group, like what you're trying to do here and what you want to build from it or what you hope to accomplish through it is no different than when the seeds were born, Jason, when you felt inspired through the loss of your brother to start the PFC Entertainment Network. And it becomes your lifeblood. It becomes your passion, your dream. And you have also said, hey, you could have just started a podcast and promoted yourself and been done with it. You went out and created a network to give other people platforms and voices. Yeah. And you're always doing that back scene work that I know good and well isn't always visible to the naked eye. There's so much that goes on in the background. Hours, just countless hours, no sleep, stress, thinking, being creative, connecting with people, networking, all of that to build something. And I know what that looks like because I've done it myself in my own things. You know what I mean? And You don't need to be patted on the back for it. It's what you chose to do.
Yeah.
Right.
But I understand my friend Ryan always calls it the unsexy work. You know what I mean? And so I feel like when you find people who find a purpose and they're walking in their calling, and that doesn't necessarily mean that your calling is to support vets. Your calling is to love people and support people and uplift people. And when you're walking in that, doors open. That's just what they do. When you find your path and you're on the path. And I've experienced it myself, so I'm very excited I cannot wait to do a follow-up 1 year from now and see where we are. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of cool when you make plans, but it's also cool if you just keep walking your path. These doors that you wouldn't even expect to open will open for you, and you're clear in your head so you can walk through them and you can recognize this is bullshit and this is good. You know, you start getting that discerning spirit. And man, woo, there's a lot of we'll see how many strange coat tailors. There's a lot of people who have counted you out. A lot of people who have dismissed you, and I'm not going to say that they were wrong in their sense of doing so in certain situations.
I dismissed myself. Why wouldn't people follow my lead for how I presented myself to the world? So
so it's taking that and flipping the script and moving forward and helping other people along the way. Because I mean, who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? If we don't help each other, no one's taking care of anybody but us. So it's like, you just do it for the right reasons. Yeah. So I'm excited. I think in all your 3 hours of spare time in the week, Jason, that you could use sleeping, maybe one of these days you'll be picking locks.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we want to get together, definitely.
I mean, I'd check it out for sure.
Just even to check it out, man. I'll tell you one thing. I'm famous. My right hand is famous. Not for anything dirty. This is a family show. Okay. A fucked up family show.
It's famous for that. It's famous for that on other channels.
Yeah. But he had me at the moose.
So most of what you see, like when you're watching a lockpicker, is just hands. You know,
you don't
see
look at
them
their
doing
face.
stuff. We're all kind of mostly anonymous on there. But again, like another thing I like doing is kind of coming up with different ideas and being a little creative and doing this or that. So when we're at the Moose, I have her,
this is what it looks like.
No.
Oh.
So you'll just see her hand holding the lock, and then I, do the lock.
And when we're done, I go.
Yep, that's her little. So
they call me Mrs. Stew now. Polls were taken.
Yeah, they put a poll on whether she should take over my show or not, basically. So. That was one of my buddies from England, Nigby Lockbothering. And again, that's the other thing, man. Like people from around the world, Croatia, England, just all over the country. Just some of the most wonderful people. Just love to have fun, crack jokes, and
they also, one of them sent you the most amazing lock. It was that real smooth one. It wasn't from like World War II or something, or it was like an old lock. It was a vintage lock.
Oh, there are a number of them, yeah.
So they also collect like locks from historical locks and stuff, and then refurbish and restore them. So I mean, just a lot of really cool niches to this, I think. So I don't know. It's been weird, Jason. It's been a weird few weeks. That's why we've been off for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
without an episode.
Things happen for a reason. They line up the way that they're supposed to, when they're supposed to. We may not know the reasons right then and there, but but for you guys, you're seeing it as it unfolds in real time.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't be presented in the way that it is if you couldn't handle it. So I mean, it's meant to challenge you. It's meant for you to tap into that inner part of your soul that you never may have realized was there, but you're like, oh goddamn, like this is, and it resonates, Charles, because like I said, you're laying out these key factors, psychologically what it's doing for you. You're making friends. You're making these. It pulled you out of the depths of hell, is what it did. And like I'm sitting here and I'm hearing this, I'm like, God damn, I need to get him on the flagship show so that we can dive into that part of it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
Anytime.
This was I don't want to go over the top here, but this happened for you in the time it needed to, for the reasons it needed to, and you received it in the way it needed to be. That's big too. So the fact that all these stars are in alignment and you have all this support from your wife to people you've never met across the goddamn globe.
Yep.
Man, I am so hopeful, happy, and optimistic for all of this for you.
Thank you. I had when it started to kind of kick off a little bit before I even got to here or starting the group. Just getting some contacts and connections and things like that. I had Mr. Inferno, the guy on YouTube that's sent a lot of locks, like a box of 70 locks. He back and he told me, I was talking to him, just kind of asking something and mentioning something, and he just out of the blue said, "Strike while the iron's hot."
Yep.
And that resonated. And so for every door, contact,
email, phone call,
I not even calculatingly, but I gravitating to it. I'm not hesitating if it's there. I didn't hesitate to turn the connections I'd made into, I could have just kept asking for product for my channel, and then I get stuff all, every so often, and I give some stuff away, which I'm still getting some stuff, and I'm still going to give some stuff to people and giveaways and things like that. But the idea or the opportunity to take that connection and use it for someone else, and that, that is when it feels good to realize every moment I can, I strike with the iron, so.
Awesome.
On that note, that was a plug to my other show.
Well
on
done
that
there.
note, I know. For my music, on that note, lovers, I'm sorry. Kristin's been going through some shit, okay? I had some serious feelings on the last episode. We had to do that bonus Say What show. I was very nervous, by the way, Jason, after that went out, just because I feel like even Joanna from We Don't Talk About That called me up and was like, yikes, that was intense. When Joanna's telling me that, it was intense. But you know what? I needed to say it. I stand by everything I said. It is what it is. But it's been it's been a roller coaster the last few weeks. Not only with this stuff going on, but with just a variety of other personal and professional things. But we're here. We're moving forward. He's moving forward. I'm moving forward. We're moving forward. All the things. This is my life now. It used to be stains and pallets. Then it was basil. Now it's locks.
Yeah.
But that's all right. So at the end of the day, what I want to do is, number one, thank you to you, Jason, and the PFC Entertainment Network for this platform and for just giving us creative freedom to come on and talk about any and everything, right? I want to thank Paul Harrington from PCI Signs, who has been a great support for me personally as a friend. Also has done, when we had our store, he did all of our promotional materials and signage. He's done it for Holly Pride the last 4 years. And now here we are passing it on to, Mitten Made.
Yep.
And then I want to thank the Locksport community and is it Southern Made Strategies or oh my
Southern
God.
Specialist.
Southern Special. Look at me. That's why I'm not in charge. Southern Specialties, Liberty Cannabis, Multi-Pick, and Lockjaw MFG for and also all the other YouTubers out there that are donating locks, kits, swag, anything they can to make sure
Time,
that
advice.
time when a veteran chooses to come and find out about this, or any person looking for connection and community, that those supplies were there because you seized a moment and hit while the iron was hot and we're healing, but through the giving of so many other people and their generosity. And this is where the trickle down, sometimes you plant seeds, you never get to see the tree, but you were part of the the ecology of this. And so that's, to me, the beautiful part of just dozens of people putting their little watering can on things.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it changes lives. It saves lives. And whether you're picking locks, doing a podcast, singing karaoke, playing golf, whatever, when you have connection to another human being and you're in pain and you find validation, support, and some spark in you, you share it with the world, and you don't know who the next broken person is that's going to get that. And so that's what keeps the world churning, and that's what we need more of. So I'm really excited to unexpectedly be a small part of a new thing. So
and I thank you very much, and I thank you, Jason, for letting us on here to talk about this and kind of get the word out more.
So if you are interested, whether you are a veteran or not, in learning more about Locksport, we will, Jason will make sure that we have in the, when this is posted on air, there's going to be a link to subscribe to your YouTube channel. And we're not trying to plug that to be weird.
That's just where
that's where you can.
Mitten Made on YouTube right now is on my channel.
So we'll have a link for your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We will have a link for the Facebook. So we made a Facebook page.
Yeah.
But we also made a group. And so that way, if people want to talk and have conversation about, especially locally, but it could be anywhere. Yeah. So that's very new. But we'll make sure we have the links to those things. And
we're working on a Discord server and eventually a website.
So more to come.
Grab the domain. And and again, like she said, everything's kind of organic. So I might say, hey, we want to do this with the Facebook group, but we'll see who joins, what the organics of that is. So all of this is going to continue to be organic with the support and the people. And, it's not my vision or my decisions, it's taking everything we have and everything these people need and figuring out the way to marry those,
It's all good stuff. So, if you are local and you happen to listen to the show tomorrow, which by the time this is posted, who knows, you may hear it, you may not, but tomorrow and then also next Sunday, which I believe is June 2nd, don't have a planner in front of me, you are doing 2 local meetups here at Battle Alley Coffee from 10 a.m. to 12.
Yeah.
So you can stop by, get a great cup of fresh roasted coffee and just check it out. Ask questions. See what it's about. Maybe it's for you. Maybe it's not. Yeah. But there are some local opportunities as well.
And then there will be a lot more, locally to here, all over the Metro Detroit area. And then I'll roam Michigan and the
Only
country.
one way to go. That's up.
Yep.
You got that right.
So.
Love that for you guys.
Thank you. And we're excited to, cross promote with any business, organization, or entity that wants to get involved in helping heal people and supporting our veterans and creating communities. So no doubt we'll be plugging the PFC Entertainment Network. Not even so much my show, just the network. There's so much great content and variety here. And I figured, because you don't know this, but in our personal PFC group thing on Facebook, where all of the hosts, of the podcasts are in there, Jason did make a video at some point, a while ago about the stats, the demographics, right? Of who's been, where you've seen the most increase over the last month or so. And it's clearly from the Fatal 4-Way. Because we got a bunch of wrestling junkies out there. But my thought is, just because you're into wrestling doesn't mean you necessarily make the leap you would be into Locksport. But my gut tells me there's probably the same demographic, that 40-plus-year-old male out there who is sitting there. The kids are running around. He's got the arthritis now. Wife's done. She's just busy out with they've been married for 20 years and they're looking for something because you don't feel like sometimes in your 40s you're going to rediscover a hobby or friends or playtime or whatever. And I refuse to accept that narrative because I have found the most meaningful because I think more, you've been through more, you've learned your lessons, and now it's what? I get to play at 40 and I'm not, stupid and young and you know what I mean? Just kind of this really cool time of our lives. And I think that maybe this episode, and there's some listeners out there that I feel like in some ways this might resonate with in a different way.
Yeah, well, like you said that.
What if we wrestle with locks, Jason? Oh my God!
I'm sure you guys have beat each
Crazier
other.
shit's happened in wrestling, I can tell you.
Okay, that's a whole other off-air conversation. Yeah. I'm just kidding. So anyway, I appreciate you for being on today, honey, and I thank you, Jason, and thank you all for tuning in. We will be back with episodes of On That Note next week. But for everyone here at Say What, I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.